Hello, and welcome back to another series of the Ottomans from Empire History series. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about a very exciting sultan called Murad the First. And Murad the First was born on 29th of June 1326. He was the son of Orhan Ghazi and Nilufar Hatun. His reign was from 1362 to 1389 till his death. And he was the second eldest son. The first in line was Sultan Pasha, but he had passed away. And if you don't know how he passed away, please check episode 2 and go back and watch it, please. So, first up, Murad I conquered Adrianople, which is the modern city of Edirne in northwest Turkey. And he made it his capital of the Ottoman Empire in 1363. And if you don't know where Edirne is, it's in the northwest corner of Turkey, as said, but it's near Greece, right near the border of Greece and Bulgaria. Then he further expanded the Ottoman realm in southern Europe and forced the princes of Serbia and Bulgaria to pay him tribute, along with John V Palaiologos. And if you've seen a previous episode, John V Palaiologos was the emperor of the Byzantine Empire. And what he did next was split his two provinces of Anatolia in Asia Minor, which is the Asian side of Turkey, and Rumelia, which is the Balkans. According to Ottoman sources, Murad I had many titles, such as Bey, Emir-i-Azam, Hudavendigar, and in Bulgaria and Serbia he was known as Tsar. Murad fought against the powerful Beylik of Karaman, which are other Turks in Anatolia, and against the Serbs, Albanians, Bulgarians, and Hungarians. Now we're going to be talking about two big battles, the first one being the Battle of Maritsa. But just before the Battle of Maritsa, this is the background of it. So in 1354, the Ottomans acquired Gallipoli. From there, they expanded into Thrace, taking the important city of Adrianople, modern-day Edirne, in 1369. They reached the borders of Ulyesa's lands of Serbian noblemen. Ulyesa tried to create a coalition against the Ottomans. He failed to secure support from the Byzantines and the Bulgarians. Most of the Serbian lords were occupied fighting each other, and the only Serbian lord who supported Ulyesa's ideas was his brother, of course, Vukašin. This is where it gets interesting. In the summer of 1371, Vukašin marched to Zita, modern-day parts of Montenegro and northern Albania, to support his relative Durad Balsic in his war against Nikola Altomanovic. His army was in Skodar, or Skadar, city in modern-day Albania, waiting for naval support from the Republic of Ragusa, which is a Croatian city of Dubrovnik, modern-day Dubrovnik. Ulyesa received information that the majority of Ottoman forces left Europe and marched to Anatolia. Then this is where it gets really interesting. He decided it was a good time to execute his offensive plans and asked Vukašin for help, who is his brother, as we said before. So overall, Vukašin left Skodar with his army and joined Ulyesa instead, his brother. They marched to Adrianople Edirne, which is shown on the map. So, on to the Battle of Maritsa, the most exciting part of the first battle that happened, first major battle of the many battles that happened between Murad I and the Balkans. So, the Serbian army of Despot Ulyesa is 50 to 70,000 soldiers strong, and this is significantly bigger than the 4,000 Ottoman soldiers. Murad I was not in Edirne, the capital city, which is the city that the Despot Ulyesa and Serbian soldiers were coming to raid, along with his brother Vukašin. And they wanted to raid the capital city whilst the Sultan, Murad I, was in Asia Minor, the Asian side of Turkey. Murad I had a secret weapon, the lieutenant, you could say, the second in command whilst Murad I isn't there, Shahin Pasha. And what he did was commit to a night raid with 4,000 Ottoman soldiers against the 50 to 70,000 Despot Ulyesa and Vukašin Serbian soldiers. And he turned out successful. The Maritsa River is said to be scarlet red and full of the metaphor for you know what for blood, and even in the night you could see that it's it's a complete bloodbath. And so the Ottoman soldiers came out victorious. They defended their capital city, and Murad the First is now onwards and upwards towards other conquests. This Battle of Maritsa happened in southern Bulgaria, and the brothers of Despot Ulyassa and Vukashin are now pronounced dead because of the heroics of Shahin Pasha. So, on to the aftermath of the Battle of Maritsa. This was in South Serbia, South Bulgaria, as the river passes through both. It fell under Ottoman power after this battle. The battle itself was part of the Ottoman campaign to conquer the Balkans and was preceded by the Ottomans capturing Sozopol in modern day Bulgaria and succeeded by the capture of the cities of Drama, Kavala, and Sarai in modern Greece. The battle preceded the later 1389 Battle of Kosovo, which we will speak about next in this episode, and was one of the many battles in the Serbian Turkish Wars. So, before we get into the biggest battle of the medieval period, the Battle of Kosovo, a bit of further knowledge about the Battle of Maritsa. It happened in 1371. It wiped out most of the Serbian noblemen, and as for the Battle of Kosovo, it's the biggest battle of the medieval period, and Prince Lazar, who is the remaining in the remaining part of Serbia, not yet conquered by the Ottomans, is maintaining diplomatic and military ties to then launch an assault onto the Ottomans. So, further context around before the Battle of Kosovo. So, the Ottomans had also lost battles at Plochnik, 1386, that was southeastern Serbia, and they were losing Ottomans in the Battle of BILECA in 1388, southern Serbia, in the fight between leaders Lala Shahin Pasha and the Grand Duke Vukovic of Bosnia. As for Murad I, the reigning Ottoman Sultan, moved his troops from Philippopolis, the second largest city in Bulgaria, in the region of Thrace, to Ihtiman, modern Bulgaria, in Sofia province, in the spring of 1388. So from there, they travelled across Velbust and Kratova, modern North Macedonia, though no longer than the alternative route through Sofia and the Nisava Valley. This led the Ottoman forces to Kosovo, one of the most important crossroads in the Balkans. Why? Because from Kosovo, they could attack the lands of either Prince Lazar or Vuk Brankovic. Having stayed in Kratova, north of North Macedonia, for a time, Murad and his troops marched through Kumanova, Presevo, and Gilan to Pristina, where he arrived on June 14th. Little is known about Lazar's preparations. What is known is that he moved his forces from to South Morova, which is also named after a river, in eastern Kosovo. Lazar's forces likely remained in Niš, which is the eastern part of Kosovo, until they were sure that Murad and his forces had moved to Velbast, which is southwest Bulgaria. Lazar being at Prokupi, Kosovo, was an advantage to Lazar himself and a disadvantage to Murad, as Lazar could see in all directions and have access to all routes, basically in the center of all the routes where Murad would pass with his troops. Ottoman historian Mehmet Neshri created the first detailed report of the Battle of Kosovo. Now, this report was created in 1521, which is almost two centuries after the Battle of Kosovo, which happened in 1389. Started in 1389. Lazar's army was more than double compared to the Ottomans at 500,000 soldiers strong. These were armies consisting of Bulgarians, Hungarians, Kosovans, and mostly Albanians, and of course Serbians. Regardless of the exact size of the armies, This was the biggest battle of the medieval times, as said before. The Ottomans were supported by the auxiliary armies from the Turkmen Beys of the Anatolian region of Isfendiyar, and in total there were 2,000 janissaries, 1,000 archers, and of course the auxiliary army of the Anatolian region of Isfendiyar. And Murad I was covered from all sides, and on his left was Yaqub, his son, his younger son, and on the right was Bayezid. Now, onto the part that you've all been waiting for, the Battle of Kosovo. Now, the battle commenced with Ottoman archers aiming at the Serbian cavalry who were charging towards them in a wedged formation, so close together. So they break through the Ottoman ranks on the left wing, which was commanded by Çelebi, Murad's younger son. But the Serbian cavalry failed to break the center and right wing of the formation of the Ottomans. And Çelebi's left wing is severely damaged. So the left wing of the whole Ottoman army is severely damaged. This could allow the Serbian army to rout them, but what you'll see next is truly remarkable. Then, the Ottoman light cavalry and light infantry counterattacked the Serbian heavy armored soldiers, which became a disadvantage for the Serbians. Due to their heavy armor, they couldn't move as quickly as the light infantry, light cavalry, and they were overrun. Now, in the center of it all, the Serbian forces managed to push through, and apart from the Bayezid side of the wing, which was barely holding together against Vlatko Vukovic, the Ottoman forces led by Bayezid managed to push back the Serbian forces and routed them, so went around them and cornered them. So the Serbian army infantry was routed. The Bayezid's flanks were still holding together, but what this did is now Vukovic's forces are now moving towards the center as they're losing ground on the flanks, and this cornered them into a little circle, and Bayezid's forces look like they're going to win. It is said that Brankovic retreated, and the Bosnian and Serbian forces on the battlefield gave in as they believed that victory was no longer possible. That one of the Serbian knights, Milos Obilic, had pretended to desert the battlefield away from the Ottoman forces. One version of history says that Milos Obilic was brought forward by an Ottoman guard in front of Murad whilst trying to desert the battlefield. And what happened next is Milos Obilic pulled out a hidden dagger, slashed Murad across the stomach and belly, and killed Murad right there and then, whilst an Ottoman guard then killed the Serbian knight. But another version says the Serbian knight Milos Obilic was pretending to play dead on the battlefield whilst Murad walked by and then stabbed him with his dagger. Now, both of these stories conclude one thing, that Murad had died or killed on the battlefield. And this is the truth. And Murad was killed on the battlefield, and he remains the only Sultan in the history of the Ottoman Empire to have been killed on the battlefield. The event of the battle spread like wildfire in Europe. As earliest reports say, a letter from Thurko of Bosnia was sent to the Senate of Trogir, Croatia, on August 1st, and the Council of Florence claimed that he had defeated the Ottoman Sultan in Kosovo. The response of the Florentines to Thurko in the letter is very significant, as on 20th of October 1389, this letter marks the day that Sultan Murad had died, on 28th of June, and this is celebrated as Saint Vitus Day, or Saint Vidovdan. I have been saying throughout the last parts of the video that Milos Obilic, the Serbian knight nobleman, is the one who killed Sultan Murad I. This could very well be wrong, but what we do know for sure is that one of 12 Serbian noblemen, they're all Serbian, were the one who killed Sultan Murad I. They broke through Ottoman lines whilst the rest of the Janissaries, the Turkmens, were busy fending off the Serbians, cornering them. These 12 Serbian noblemen went round, routed the Ottoman army, and then killed Sultan Murad, who was with a handful of his bodyguards. So either it happened by Milos Obilic, the two options that we had before. He took out his hidden dagger while the battlefield and stabbed Sultan Murad, or played dead and stabbed Sultan Murad whilst he walked past. Or these 12 Serbian noblemen have routed the Ottoman army and killed Sultan Murad along with his handful of bodyguards who couldn't protect him. So, to conclude, both armies were destroyed on the battlefield. The Blazar and Murad were killed on the battlefield, and the remnants of the armies retreated back to their home bases. The most disturbing part of this all is that Murad's son Bayezid killed his younger brother Yaqub upon learning about Murad's death, and this is because he wanted the throne for himself, and this made sure he cemented his position as the new Sultan of the Ottoman Empire. Thanks for watching, and please like, subscribe, share, comment, and peace.